this webinar is for those who are thinking about teaching abroad and signing up to an internship program and kind of want the overall details of the programs, but also maybe want to hear from some of our current teachers that are abroad. So I'm very lucky to be joined by 4 of our teachers. So you'll notice my colleague Jessica there, who happened to be one of our interns from Italy. We have Lawrence, who joined us on our Vietnam program. We have Emma, who is staying up very late to join us from Thailand, and Katie from South Korea as well. So I'm sure you'll all join me in thanking them very much for their time and for today. So basically, we go through kind of the programs themselves to start off with. You know, I think I'll start with Italy, just to kind of run through what you can expect from the program, who can apply, some of the details and some of the benefits from the program as well. So for teaching in Italy, it's one of the most fabulous locations ever, and it's one of the most interesting programs as well. The kind of classroom environment is so different from anything else that I've ever heard of. It's very friendly and open. Your students are so comfortable, they're sitting on couches. It's just fabulous. It's not the typical teacher at the whiteboard kind of experience, and I'm sure Jess will tell us a little bit more about that. So who can apply for this program? I'm sure you're all asking. You have to be aged between 22 and 62. You have to be a native English speaker and have a passport from Ireland. You'll also need your TEFL qualification, which is included in the program. You'll need to have kind of a leaving certificate or equivalent, or higher if you have it. If you do have teaching experience, it is very helpful, but it's not a necessity, and you will get your TEFL training and some training in country as well to help you out and get started. You definitely have to be flexible and adaptable to the Italian culture. There are certain differences, and I'm sure Jess might be able to fill us in a little on some of her experiences over there. And it's a start date from September for a 9-month placement. So it's a great program if you're interested in that kind of time frame as well. You do get to give your preference on location. Generally, the locations are kind of northerly based, you know, Rome, Milan, Florence, but it is nationwide, and you can give your preference on location. And you'll be teaching kind of 15 to 30 hours per week, and mostly adults, but maybe some kind of teenagers and children into the mix there as well. And yeah, it's a really nice salary. You know, you get the full welcome orientation and training to help you get settled. You get some accommodation assistance, kind of job assistance overall, you know, getting your bank account set up, getting access to the healthcare system, health and accident insurance, all of those kind of documentation and elements that you might need help with as a first-time teacher going abroad. So that's why an internship is so great. So I'm going to pass over to Jessica now, who's going to tell us a little bit about her journey into TEFL teaching and kind of what you were doing beforehand and how you got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, well, I graduated in business, so I wasn't really in the mindset of doing TEFL teaching when I left school. But I ended up doing just a bit of volunteering in a local primary school, and that kind of set off my passion then for teaching. And, you know, I also wanted to travel a bit because I never took that gap year before I went into college. So I said I'd do a bit of traveling after college, but I was broke, so I didn't have time to save up money. So I saw there was an option to go teaching, which I had interest in, and also go abroad. So I didn't have to worry about saving up loads of money before I went. I could just head off and earn some money while I was abroad. So actually the first place I went teaching was Thailand. So I went there for a couple of months, and then I came back, and, you know, I really missed teaching. And then I wanted to kind of take it further from just my TEFL certificate. So I ended up doing a CELTA as well. And I really enjoyed every step of the way. And then I guess I wanted to go abroad again, but not so far. So I wanted to stay in Europe or Central Europe even, with the option to go around if I wanted to. So I had a look. I wanted to find an Irish provider, you know, a TEFL Irish provider, because I felt if I could have that support, you know, if they're in the country, it would just feel more reliable. So I did a Google and I saw the TEFL Institute came up, and they also had internships in Europe, which was really great. I actually saw Spain and Italy, and they told me Spain is, you know, booked up. I'm sorry. And I said, okay, you know, I might go for Spain. So instead, but I really had my heart set on Italy. And then an opening came up for Italy. So it was Faith. So then I headed off, and it was a really fantastic experience. And, you know, it really, I think out of any other teaching experience I had before that, it really pushed me as a teacher, and in terms of learning grammar, you know, professional development, learning techniques and how to handle students and that, especially in groups. So the program in Italy was really good in that way, and a really big emphasis on continuous development through, you know, feedback and, you know, in a very respectful way, and a really great environment to be in as well, where you can learn from other teachers, and then doing like even workshops and that to, you know, improve your skills as a teacher. So it was really a really great step for me. And I ended up, I think I was only contracted for 6 months at the time. So I signed up for 6 months, but then I decided to stay on because I couldn't leave. And it was actually even during the pandemic, and I still didn't want to leave because I loved it so much. So I ended up staying on for 2 years. And it was a fantastic experience overall. And it was, yeah, I definitely, it was one of the best experiences for teaching, I think, in Italy.
It's fantastic as well that now that we have you as a member of our team, Jessica's our recruitment specialist. So any of you that maybe are thinking about going abroad, and if you do sign up to one of our programs, either in Southeast Asia or for Europe as well, Jessica will be your point of contact there through the application process. So you have someone, you're in good hands anyway, for sure, with a wealth of experience and knowledge in all areas of Thailand and Italy as well. So we're so delighted to have you. I suppose in terms of the actual kind of culture of Italy, then, like, what was your location like what living there, you know, is it expensive, kind of those elements of living abroad?
Sure. So I was in the north of Italy. So again, you know, the cost of living can kind of vary where you are. If you think about the north versus the south, it will be quite different. But in general, you know, the cost of living in Italy is cheaper than in Ireland. So, you know, food and like socializing is much cheaper in general. The rent can be as well. So it is, you know, especially with the salary you're given, it's quite comfortable, you know, to be able to live there and enjoy, you know, traveling around a bit as well in Italy. So they have a really great train system there, so you can head off anywhere. I loved it so much. It was really great and really cheap. And I think in terms of the culture, you know, it's in ways it kind of reminds me of Irish culture. You know, they're so welcoming and so approachable. And there's a really big emphasis on, you know, if you go into the workplace, you know, that's your family, you know, that's, you know, you get very close very fast. And, you know, a typical day really would be, you know, if, especially I guess with the private language schools, you would be working in the evenings most of the time. So then after you finish up, you go for dinner together. You know, there could be one big long table of like 20 people having dinner together, having lots of wine and chatting and that. You know, you could be out, you know, eating dinner till maybe 12 p.m. So it is a really nice kind of relaxed environment, socializing as well. And yeah, I think, there's definitely differences in culture, like with any country, but I think having that European connection makes it much easier as well.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And I think the question that everyone wants to know, and I certainly do, have you got any Italian that you can share with us?
Oh no, you put me on the spot now. Well, I did actually try to learn Italian. So I actually just came across a teacher on Facebook. She was advertising. So I signed up for or I follow one of the expat groups. So I think they're really great on Facebook. If you even just type in, Rome expat group, you go into that Facebook group, you follow them, and they can provide loads of support there, or you can post a question. So I actually found my Italian teacher there, and I still actually take Italian lessons to this day with the same teacher. So it's been 2 years of Italian lessons and it's still pretty rubbish. So please don't test me.
Oh no, that's fantastic.
But it's
and
no, definitely, it's a great experience. I feel like it's one of my favorite things that I took from the experience as well, is language learning in itself.
Yeah, and I suppose as a TEFL teacher in general, language is something that you are passionate about, and that everyone's passionate about, and it's something that kind of unites everyone globally, really. People want to learn English, us wanting to teach English. It's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
I know in terms of support, Jess, you kind of mentioned there about Facebook groups. We also have, the orientation when you get to your location as well. I know for some of you, maybe it was during COVID times and it might have been online, but for the most part now, things are kind of, the world's opening up again, and everything is kind of back to some sort of normality. So in-person orientations are going ahead, and you always have your fellow TEFL teachers there.
Yeah, I think it's nice because when I arrived, I traveled over myself, obviously, but then when I went to the orientation was in Florence. I went and took the train to Florence. I was based up near Venice, and it was so nice to meet other Irish people there. So and we had a really great few days and went out for dinner in Florence and some drinks and stuff after training. So it was a really nice experience.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey in Italy with us. And I'm sure if anyone here is interested in Italy, they can pop us an email. You can see it there on the screen, but we will send out an email afterwards and you can let us know. I do kind of want to kind of open up, I suppose, this section of the seminar to our audience. I can see we have a lovely 31 participants today, which is fantastic. You can let us know maybe in the chat where you're interested in teaching, and any location in mind, any experience you might have, and we can have a chat about it in a Q&A session maybe in a couple of minutes if our audience would like to pop that into the chat box. But we do have our lovely 3 interns with us, so I do want to pass it over to them. So I do want to talk a little bit about South Korea now. So the salary in South Korea is absolutely fantastic. You'd be looking at about 1,500 to 1,700 euros per month. You do get your TEFL training included, you get a partial flight reimbursement, your accommodation included for 12 months. And it's an absolute fantastic program, very much kind of a community-based program. We have lots of teachers going together for the orientation. It's very much one of our most popular placements because of all the support that is included. I do just want to touch on some of the requirements for that program and some kind of things to consider maybe before traveling to South Korea. So it is a requirement to have a bachelor's degree. This will have to be legalized, and that process can take some time. So we do recommend kind of getting signed up as quickly as possible if you are interested in traveling to Asia. Start date is September, so it's quickly approaching, and after hopefully the lovely summer that we have here in Ireland, you'll want to be going quite soon. So you'll need to have a look into all your documents. So your TEFL certificate, a criminal background check, so that's like a police check from your local police station, you'll need to make sure that your passport is within 2 years date, and you'll need to be available for that 1 year as well. So if you are interested in going, definitely it's a great one. And I'd love to pass the baton over to Katie, who might tell us a little bit about herself and I suppose your journey into TEFL teaching as well, and where you came from versus where you're at now.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie. I'm 29 years old. I'm originally from Cork City in Ireland. I am not a teacher. Before I did this, I was actually a chef for 6 years. It's where I got my qualifications. I went to CIT, did a 2-year course in culinary studies, then went back and did a further 2 years and got a bachelor's of business in culinary arts, worked in the hospitality industry for a further 1.5 years. It is a very hard industry to work in, but it was very rewarding and I really enjoyed it, but it just wasn't for me. Ended up doing 5 years as an interior designer and now I'm a teacher. I actually planned on becoming a teacher when I was leaving school initially. My plan was to be a music teacher. However, a very ill-timed and unfortunate injury to my neck and my shoulder and the right-hand side of my body meant that I had to stop playing guitar and piano, and you cannot be a music teacher in Ireland without piano. This was closer to my 6th year in school than anything else. I was too late to change subjects to do something else. And the reason I picked chefing initially was because I wanted to travel. The plan was actually to go traveling after I did the first 2 years of college, ended up staying for the further 2 and got my bachelor's degree. And just with the way things went, ended up sticking around in Ireland. Then during COVID, not only did my job go, lots of other things happened in my life. And it was just a case of, okay, I'm turning 30 next year. I need to do something now. And teaching had never left my head. It was always something I wanted to come back to. And it's one of those things, like I said, music has always been a huge part of my life. It's like the one thing that I've always gone back to. And it was actually kind of through music, i.e. K-pop music, not only BTS, I promise, there's other K-pop bands if you go and look them up. But I actually really like Asian music. My sister has like a Chinese playlist on her Spotify for years. And during COVID, I got really into Asian music again, and watching a video on YouTube one day during COVID led to a video about a girl teaching in South Korea. Now, South Korea has actually always been something that's kind of been in my mindset because my godfather's daughter has actually been here for 6 years teaching English. She's actually getting married here. She's staying here permanently. She's never coming home. I won't lie, I've been here for 3 months. I cannot see myself coming back to Ireland at all in the next for the foreseeable future. It is incredible here. But yeah, it was one of those things that one thing led to the next thing, led to the next thing. And that video definitely was that aha moment of like, oh, I can teach in Korea. Oh, I have all the qualifications. I have the bachelor's degree. My passport's in date. I can go and do the TEFL course. The perks of working here are not to be downplayed. It is amazing working here. Like you said, I work in what's called an evening school, like an evening hagwon. So I don't start work until 2 p.m. I work until 10 p.m. So I finished work just over half an hour ago. There's a beach. I live in a place called Haeundae, which is in Busan on the south coast. And it is sunshine 90% of the time. It is incredible. The beach is like 10 minutes that way. You can walk to it. It's incredible. I love it here. Honestly, it is amazing. I can't actually describe it any better than that. It's the best decision I've ever made coming here.
Oh, you made me want to just hop on the next. I might be joining you very soon. I know you said there that you're in one of the hagwons. How have you found that experience, I suppose, working in the evenings, which would be a lot different really to the school system that we would have here in Ireland? Do you still find the time to kind of go traveling and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess I was lucky in the sense that because I came from a chefing background initially, I was so used to working like 8 a.m. to close, whatever that meant when it came to the hospitality industry, working weekends. I was used to constantly working. Now, I was very lucky in my retail jobs or in the interior design industry. I worked 9 to 5 Monday to Friday jobs. So this again, coming into this, when I did the interview process, I actually initially, when I started the idea to come here, I actually planned on coming here alone. So I was going to come without any help or any support. I just kind of put my head into it. And it was around this time last year, it was April of 2021. I started thinking about it. Now, there's 2 ways to teach English here. You can go to the EPIC program, which is the English program in Korea, or you can go to the Hagwon system. Now, I've gone through the Hagwon system. Hagwons have 2 forms. You can either teach day Hagwon or you can teach evening Hagwon. Day Hagwon is basically like a school system type of thing. It's like 9 to 6. And then you have evening Hagwon, which is what I do, which is 2 to 10. If you teach evening Hagwon, you're more likely to be teaching, you're definitely teaching elementary school, and you're most likely teaching middle school too. For me, that wasn't a problem, because I think personally, I was open to any and all experiences. I actually received 3 job offers when I did interviews. 2 of them were for daytime schools, and one of them was the evening school, which is the one I took, because for me personally, it was location over the school, the idea of the school that I was going to be in, because I was a new teacher anyway. I didn't have a preference to what would suit me, what wouldn't suit me. And the idea of living where I live, Busan was my choice. Like, I remember when I did my first interview with the coordinators that TEFL work with, and they were like, okay, and have you a location preference? Like, yeah, anywhere but Seoul. And they were like, I'm sorry? I was like, yep, anywhere but Seoul. I don't want Seoul. Seoul is too big. If I have a choice, I want Busan. I want Busan. I want Busan. And I was lucky. Hyundai is in Busan. I suppose in terms of traveling and doing stuff, the only thing I will say is, if you do decide to do the evening Hagwon, you have to be prepared for the fact you are working evenings. If you do meet people out here that are other teachers or other people or other expats, lots of them work in the daytime. You are missing out on some of the evening things that go on around, but I do have every weekend off. I also get to sleep in every morning if I want to, or I can go and spend the morning at the beach before it gets busy and then go to work. So I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything, to be totally honest. It's I wouldn't change it. Now, I do think next year, possibly, like when I'm staying on next year, I haven't fully decided if I'm going to stay with this particular school or maybe try the opposite next year to see if I prefer doing the daytime routine, because there's a big difference in the curriculums depending on whether you work in the daytime, whether that be through the EPIC in the daytime or Hagwon in the daytime, or you teach in Hagwon in the evening. I teach Hagwon in the evening. Basically, that means that these kids go to school at 8 a.m., they finish school at 2 p.m., then they come to me at 4 p.m. and they're still in school with me. Like, my last class every day is 9 p.m. I'm teaching 14 and 15-year-olds English at 9 p.m. Monday to Friday. Like, these kids are studying constantly. So what I do is I am just drilling them on like the speaking and the writing of English. That's the way my school works. But other schools might want you to teach all the grammar skills. Other schools might literally only want you to teach speaking skills. It totally depends, but because it's in the evening, it's a set curriculum. You are kind of given what to teach and given time to prepare how you want to teach it. There's less lesson planning involved in what I do in the evenings. If it was daytime, I am their primary teacher, their primary English or any form of teacher. Therefore, it requires a fair bit more lesson planning than what I would do the way I work now.
Yeah, and I suppose that's kind of one of the benefits of an internship program really is, and I suppose one of being part of one of those evening schools as well, is the fact that, you know, as a first-time teacher, you might not have experience in lesson planning. And then, as you said, you may have the opportunity, or you will have the opportunity to extend your contract if you like, and you can look at other options then once you have that little bit of experience. So if anyone here is planning on traveling to South Korea, you know, there are plenty of options. You can give your preference on location and the type of school that you're looking to teach in as well. And thank you so much, Katie. That's absolutely fabulous. I suppose I have one last question for you. I know that you come from the chefing background, so I want to know, how is the food playing out? Is it fantastic? Do you love it?
It is. It's actually scary good. Korean barbecue is just an experience because like you go in and you order, because everything here is like pork based, so you're going to be eating an awful lot of samgyeopsal, or so that's the pork belly side of things. So you order by the kg actually. So you order kind of how much you want of the meat, and then they bring it out, and like obviously the barbecue is at your table, you cook it in front of you, and then you get like 20 small dishes for free. There's just part of it, and they're full of like little side things. They're little wrap things that you can make like little parcels out of. There's like noodles, there's like soups, there's jigaes, there's like Buddha jjigae, kimchi jjigae, like it's just constantly being fed. And like my school, I'm actually the only English teacher currently at my school. It's a brand new school, so I'm like the first English teacher that they've had at this particular franchise. So all of the teachers have this impression that like I'm on my own a lot, so they keep bringing me Korean food and Korean sweets for me to try, which is lovely, but it's like, okay, stop giving me food. I have so much food I need to try. But no, it's incredible. Food here is, it's no joke. It's no joke. Even like the street food here, like if anyone wants to, like, I have an Instagram page. There's a picture on my Instagram page of like this meal. And you'd think it comes from like this restaurant or something. No, this was the fast food restaurant in the local department store where I just wanted to get something to eat. Like this was like like a 3-course meal. It was incredible. So they don't take their food for any, like it's serious here. Everything is serious here when it comes to their food and like sharing it. It's incredible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that kind of community, kind of
Mhm.
eating together kind of aspect of Korean culture is really interesting, and it's so fabulous. And I'm sure anyone that's looking to go to South Korea will benefit from that as well. So thank you so much, Katie. And I know you said you have an Instagram page. If you feel comfortable and if you'd like to share it
Yeah.
in the chat box, feel free. And if anyone wants to give Katie a follow and follow her journey in South Korea, I'm sure that it'll be absolutely fabulous to watch. So thank you so much, Katie, and thank you for staying on late to chat to us.
You're fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. So now I know we have Emma with us as well, who is also staying on very late in Thailand. So thank you so much, Emma. I'm just going to run through kind of the program in Thailand then as well quite quickly to get on to some questions that we all have for Emma. Um, so the requirements for teaching in Thailand do require that you are a passport holder from one of the following countries. So you have the US, Canada, Australia, the UK, Ireland, South Africa, or New Zealand. You do have to have a bachelor's degree again for the working permit, and we'll have to go through that legalization process as well that we talked about before for South Korea. So once you are enrolled onto one of our internship programs, we'll be able to assist with helping you with all of those documentation and things, and our partners also will help with that. You'll also need your TEFL qualification, and you'll have to have a clean bill of health and be between the age of 21 and 45 as well. So with this program in Thailand, you'll be looking at around 30,000 baht to 34,000. So that's about kind of 800 to 900 euros. And the cost of living in Thailand is so cheap. You get your accommodation included in the program, you get an allowance for that. Your airport pickup, you get your full orientation on arrival with all of the other interns, which has just been such a fabulous process to watch everyone getting to meet each other and getting the training and getting set up in Thailand. So you'll be teaching children primarily with the internship in Thailand. It's kind of primary and secondary school age children. You do get your weekends off. You get ongoing in-country support and also support from us here at the TEFL Institute of Ireland as well. So I'm going to pass you over to Emma. Hi, Emma, how are you?
Hi.
So why did you decide on Thailand for your internship? Did you kind of have other countries in mind, or was your heart kind of set on Thailand to start with?
Well, that's where because I came with my partner, so it got so messy. So I started last year just looking because all of our friends moved to Barcelona and I had just finished college, so I was a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do. I definitely wanted to travel. So we were just Googling, we were sort of like, maybe we'll move with them. So I was like, oh, teaching in Spain, and then obviously TEFL Ireland came up and I messages, and first place was Taiwan we ended up going for. So we went through the whole process, got down, we were meant to start in November, like November just gone, but my college wasn't a recognized college in Taiwan. So we're like, right, okay, where else can we go? Because we didn't really care where we went. We just wanted to go to Asia in the end. So ended up here, and it's been a bumpy process, like with the legalizations of our degrees. So you had to send your degree down to Dublin. They'd send it back. You'd send your degree to the London Thai embassy because there's none in Ireland. But when they're trying to send ours back, it got lost in the post. So eventually they got it back. So we ended up having to fly over to London, like do a day trip. It was absolutely mad.
Wow, that's something we've never come across before, I suppose. And I suppose just for everyone that is in the room, sometimes, you know, there are bumps in the road, but it kind of, I suppose, makes the journey all more the worthwhile. And once something goes wrong, it's kind of nice to know how to fix it, or that it won't happen again, or, you know, to kind of find the do's and the don'ts of the process. And you finally got to Thailand anyway and made your Southeastern Asian travel dreams come true.
Yeah.
And settled in your school, and it's great that you're traveling together as well. How have you gotten settled so far? How is kind of the orientation and things?
Orientation, we were a bit nervous for it because we came kind of mid-April. We just wanted to travel around a bit first before we started teaching. So orientation, it kind of instantly got us out of holiday mode. But we met, I think there was 10 Irish, and then we just met then a few Americans and all that. So the orientation was only one day because we done half of our orientation online a few months ago, like in March. So we all got to know each other then, and we ended up after orientation, we all had to go back to Bangkok or to wherever we wanted to stay, really. So we ended up more or less booking out the hotel. I think there was like 20 something of us in the one hotel, and we all ended up staying there for the whole weekend, and it was mental.
Yeah, had a great time. So when just for everyone's information, when we do have kind of a group of teachers going together for our internship programs, community is something that we really do value, and having support in your first time kind of traveling abroad. So sometimes we do set up groups and get all of our teachers kind of set up together. And we do have a WhatsApp group, and I've been checking in and having a look. Everyone is having a great time. There's drinks going on in the evenings. There's parties going on. It's just
Yeah, I think there was too much drink. That went on for too long.
Oh, well, you know what, that's kind of the part of it, I suppose, and getting settled and getting used to your new kind of life living abroad, and it's all part of the ups and the downs, and thankfully now hopefully things are going up. And have you started teaching just yet, Emma?
We started yesterday, so technically we started last week, but it was just our school. So I'm in Chongbury, so it's about an hour away from Bangkok. Like, it's grand, we're on the beach, it's great. But our school, it's very military, kind of very proper. Like, most students are more or less fluent in English anyway. So last week was just all lesson plannings, meetings, and then yesterday was 5,000 students in the school. It was people running around everywhere, not knowing what to do. Like one teachers from last semester stayed on, and even she's still like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, well, that's kind of the beauty of
Yeah.
teaching. I think all of our teachers that have joined us today will totally agree that sometimes things just kind of get away, but that's kind of the beauty of teaching, I suppose, is something new every day, and that's kind of, I suppose, the way that it is. I mean, Jess, have you had any kind of experiences like that where things just kind of go up in a heap and kind of getting used to it then after?
Sure, absolutely. In my first proper TEFL teaching job, I had, was it nearly 30 kids, 30 girls, I think, you know, and I arrived in class and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But, you know, I really kind of took what I learned from TEFL course and, you know, sat down and properly planned my lessons and, you know, even using strategies to discipline them and everything. So, and once I my confidence grew to be a teacher, I was able to actually, I couldn't believe it, by the end of it, I could manage 30 students all at once. So I was really proud of myself then that I could actually do that. So yeah, it just takes a while to get used to, I think.
Oh, definitely. I remember my first online teaching class. And I mean, after about kind of 2 or 3 weeks, once you're settled in and you know your curriculum and you know your lesson planning and you start to get used to things, it just becomes second nature, really, doesn't
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's all about lesson planning, you know, you can never plan enough.
it? Absolutely.
Yeah, you kind of have to plan twice sometimes. Like say for today, my PowerPoint projector thing just stopped working. So you kind of have to make two plans. One, your actual lesson, and then one, you're like backup just in case.
Yeah, especially with technology. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially because all my classes have 46 boys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nightmare.
Tough work for sure.
Yeah.
Class size, definitely. You wouldn't have that here in Ireland for sure. But Emma, thank you so much for sharing your journey so far, and I hope that you enjoyed the beach. And I know it's late there now, so thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
No problem.
So now I'm going to head over to Vietnam. We're going to talk about our Vietnam internship program just a little bit. So who can apply for our Vietnam internship? So you have to be between the age of 21 and 65. Again, you have to hold a passport from the USA, Canada, the UK, Ireland, South Africa, Australia, or New Zealand. Now, if I know, some people may not meet that requirement. If you don't, feel free to pop us an email. We can have a look at your individual circumstances, any experience that you might have. Send us your CV and we can take a look and see, any other options as well, because there is so much opportunity with teaching English, both for traveling abroad and teaching English online as well. Just to go back to the requirements, then you will need a bachelor's degree or higher. A bachelor's degree is really necessary for that legalization process that kind of Emma touched on and that I mentioned a little while ago. You'll need to be flexible and have an open mind to a new culture, and you will need your TEFL qualification as well, of course. So our next intake for Vietnam will be August. We also have some slots available for November and January. So if you are thinking of Vietnam as your dream location, as so many people have, it's one of our most popular programs because it's just fantastic, and there's such a large expat community in Vietnam. There's an orientation for your first week in Ho Chi Minh City, where the hotel is paid for. You get accommodation assistance. There's language lessons, and you get kind of an overall kind of tour of the culture and what to expect when you get there. So it's absolutely fantastic, and it's good for solo travelers as well, because you do have that big kind of network if you're not going with a group of friends, but you're also welcome to apply with your friends or go as a group as well. So the salary for this is based on the amount of hours that you work. So generally, if you were working full-time, kind of 20 to 35 hours a week, you'd be looking at 1,300 to 1,500 euros on average. You do get your airport pickup and transfers, that 7-day orientation in Ho Chi Minh. and the Vietnamese language lessons and your TEFL certificate all included, and some meetups and excursions throughout the year as well. And one of the biggest benefits to this program is the job placement service and your post-placement support as well. So our partners in Vietnam do offer a lifetime placement guarantee with this program. So if you were planning on traveling to another country, you know, we can help with getting the placement there as well. So I'm going to chat to Lawrence here, who has been to Vietnam and has the experience over there. So if you could tell us maybe a little bit about yourself and your journey into TEFL in Vietnam.
Yeah, of course. Well, hi guys, my name is Lawrence from Wexford, and bear with me, I'm dying with a cold at the moment, so I have zero energy. But yeah, I was studying music in Maynooth University with the goal to be a secondary school music teacher. And yeah, was in my final year there, and I was kind of thinking like, oh God, like go on to do the masters then to become a teacher here. And I was just thinking like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm fairly adventurous, like love sports, I love music, love traveling, so I wanted to do something just a bit crazy. And so I don't know, I was just researching things online, came across TEFL, didn't really know what it was, and then also went to a career guidance counselor in the university, and the first thing he said to me was TEFL as well. So I was like, okay, right, must be faith. So then found TEFL Institute of Ireland, and did the 120-hour course, and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed what I was learning, enjoyed what I was studying. It was practical, it was quick to the point as well. Like there wasn't much unnecessary stuff in it, like no BS. Did it, and then instantly started looking at where to go. So like I knew I would definitely wanted to go to Asia. Just seemed amazing. It was far away from home also, which was a bonus. It's just the culture there, the people, like the food, everything just like appealed to me. And then when I was researching the countries, like looking at Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam, Thailand, they all looked amazing, like the scenery, the places you can go. But Vietnam really appealed to me. I still don't know why. Maybe because it's a bit more old school, like it's still a developing country. Not many crazy new things in the cities. Like it is like developed enough in the cities, but not like going to maybe somewhere like Seoul or like Shanghai or Beijing maybe. And so that kind of appealed to me. And yeah, one of my friends from Wexford, his brother was actually living in Vietnam. And so he was saying, yeah, it's amazing. Then he told me there was a massive expat community, which there was. Like when I got there, I couldn't believe the amount of Irish people. Geez, there was Irish bars everywhere. There was Irish people on the streets playing music. There's just everything. So it was amazing. It was like home away from home in a sense as well. So yeah, it just seemed like the perfect place to go. And obviously, like because it's a developing country, you kind of feel like maybe you're helping the students a bit more as well, helping them to improve their English, maybe give them hints about maybe for them to study abroad, travel abroad, like for more opportunities. So that was a main thing. Like I just like helping people. And that's what I did when I got there. I met a lot of students who came from very poor backgrounds, very bad family situations. And like through meeting them, I could tell them about what it's like in the West and like the opportunities they had. And that actually led to a lot of them deciding to like study abroad and stuff. So yeah, if you like helping people, it's a perfect place to go as well, because like I said, it's developing. And the school system there is pretty strict and stuff. From my experience, a lot of the Vietnamese teachers didn't care a whole lot. They were just there to do their job and that was it. So like from what I saw, the students loved expat teachers because like we cared, we were friendly, we were having fun. We have a completely different teaching style to the Vietnamese teachers. And yeah, you really feel like you're making an impact. And yeah, it's just an awesome place to go.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And I suppose I love that aspect that you said there. It's a home away from home. I'd imagine you expect that many Irish people. Were there any neighbours or anyone that you bumped into?
Actually, there was people who knew my family. There was people who knew my friends. I couldn't believe it. there was people who knew other guys I played hurling with and stuff. So it was just mad. I really couldn't believe it. Yeah, so it was amazing, like, because we kind of expected, like, when you think of Vietnam, you kind of think you're going into the jungle or something and you're going to be living in a shack, but complete opposite. We were living in Hanoi, the capital, a big city, and we were living in like an expat area. It was very built up, but it still had like temples and palm trees. It was like class. But yeah, Irish people everywhere. You just see people wearing GA shorts and ginger heads all over the place. So it's grand, like it's great crack.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
You did kind of touch on there what it's like to live there. How is the cost of living there? Should people really budget before traveling over there for the first little while, or?
There's no need to budget at all. It's so cheap. It's so unbelievably cheap. I'd say over the 2 years, I cooked about 10 times for myself. We just eat out every day. Like some days I wake up, if I'm not teaching, just order McDonald's. A Vietnamese lad brings it to me on his bike, and it's just only a few euro. Like it's so cheap. It's crazy. Like even if you want to go out drinking, God, a fiver would do you the whole night, and you probably wouldn't even spend all of it. Like so, yeah, it's amazing. Like myself and three of the lads. So like I made like lots of friends on the internship, and obviously we stayed on after the internship. And three lads that I met on the internship, we decided to get an apartment. We found this amazing penthouse apartment, and it was only like 280 euro each a month for rent. So that kind of indicates how cheap it is over there.
Oh gosh, that's absolutely like amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose that's kind of a little bit of a shock in itself. I suppose there is such kind of, I suppose, a crisis here in Ireland with the rent and the cost of living. So the fact that you can just move abroad and not need, an incredible amount of savings or anything, and
Yeah.
you could nearly save over there, really.
You could, like, I actually, even though we were there during the pandemic and times are crazy, like I personally saved a lot without even trying. So like I came home in December with a good bit of money, like obviously, and I didn't plan for that to happen. I expected to come home with not much because I was living a pretty hectic lifestyle, like working, teaching during the day, and then in the evenings, like I play music as well. So I was playing live music in a lot of the bars and stuff over there. And then after that, I'd go to like a nightclub with friends and stuff. So I was spending a lot, but I still came home with probably more money than I ever had. So it was a good sign.
Oh, that's so amazing. How did you find the teaching when you first started and getting settled versus then kind of, I suppose, a little bit into it?
Mhm. Well, it was a bit crazy because we got there in like January 2020, and then COVID kind of hit hard. And after a few weeks, the borders were shut. So then all the schools and language centers went online. And so I was working with a language center, so like teaching in the evenings and then like during the day, Saturday and Sunday, which was fine. So we did like the orientation and the training for like face-to-face teaching, and then next minute we had to face online teaching, which we weren't prepared for. But luckily the company we were with like did an extra 2 weeks of online training, which was like unbelievable. So like at the start we were stressing, but then once we did the extra training, yeah, it was amazing. So obviously the first week or that, a few hiccups like online teaching, trying to get like young students to like turn on their cameras and stuff, but it wasn't too bad. Most of them had their parents with them in the background who were actually able to speak English and just do all those things for them. But yeah, it was grand. Like the students are so good. They're so friendly. They're so kind. Most of them had a pretty good level of English anyway, so it wasn't that daunting or stressful. Plus, in the center where I did the internship with, we had like great training. We had a head teacher from South Africa who was amazing. She was so helpful. Like she was like emailing us all the time. Like she was more like a friend than kind of like a senior teacher. So yeah, it was grand at the beginning. I enjoyed it. I actually loved it. I kind of thought maybe after the 4 months, like I would have hated it and I thought it would have been a nightmare, but I actually fell in love with teaching. And so yeah, like after I just got used to it, geez, I couldn't stop. I was picking up extra classes during the day. Then once I don't know, got very comfortable, I started looking for better jobs, like higher paying jobs. Then I worked my way into a public school program with like 60 students in the classroom. So like that was like a new challenge I wanted to try. then like once I felt like I kind of accomplished that and was happy there, I moved to like a private school for primary school students. And yeah, it was amazing. Like I got so comfortable. I ended up loving teaching. And every company that I kind of switched to, they like did like extra training to like make you feel prepared and just like give you like a higher, I don't know, qualification, I guess. So yeah, it was a great journey for any aspiring teachers. Like I love it now. Even since I came home, I've been teaching private classes online with a lot of the students I taught over there. And I've also been doing freelance TEFL teaching for like 1 or 2 week programs. Like for example, last week I was teaching business English to German students in Kilkenny. And then next week I'm teaching just general English and Irish culture to Austrian students in Dublin. So it's like basically from starting the internship, it's led to this whole new journey in life and this whole new career for me, which I'm thankful for.
Oh, that's so inspiring. So inspiring. And I suppose that support that you had,
Mm,
your kind of the more senior teachers in school, and then being able to, I suppose, transfer those experiences and that you learned to to teaching here in Ireland and teaching online and things. It's absolutely fantastic. And we wish you all the best of luck with it.
yeah,
Last,
cheers.
last question before you go. Have you any Vietnamese that you can share with us? Any phrases?
Oh God, yeah, a small bit. So my girlfriend's actually Vietnamese, so she tries to teach me a lot. So like Xin Chao is hello. My favorite one is oi zoi oi, oh my God. So like if you say that in a classroom, if a student does something funny or stupid, if you just say oi zoi oi, everyone just goes crazy. They all start cracking up. So yeah, that's my favorite thing to say.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
thanks for sharing your story, and for all of our teachers here today. Thanks for taking the time to come and speak with us. I'm sure a lot of our audience will be really appreciative of that. And as I said, the webinar will be available to watch back if anyone wants to watch it on demand. And I'll be sending on just an email to all of our signups today just to follow up with any of your questions I see in the chat box there, and a special discount code exclusive to all the webinar signups for any of the internship programs that we were speaking about today. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I can see the guys, our teachers here, are just putting in their Instagram handles. So Emma has popped hers in and Katie's popped hers in there if you want to give them a follow. So thanks so much, everyone, and have a lovely rest of your day. Take care.